Hi, it's Ian from the Postal Hub podcast.
And Marek from Last Mile Experts.
And we are the Last Mile Prophets. This is the last word on the last mile. Marek, we often talk about Poland. And
surprise, surprise.
Yes. So there's a clue somewhere maybe in your surname. I can't quite pick up on it. But we have talked about Poland with things like InPost and Allegro, which is the major... It's an e-commerce marketplace or just an e-commerce seller? What is it?
It's effectively a marketplace. It's what I like to call it, the Polish eBay.
Does Allegro have its own products, or is it really just a marketplace for other...
You know what? They do.
We're talking about a company that does things like Amazon with its own products and its own brands, as opposed to, say, a dedicated online retailer that just sells its own products.
I'll say it's somewhere in the middle. It's not. In fact, it's closer to eBay with attempts to develop in the direction of what Amazon is doing. So it does have some capability, but the core business, without a doubt, is the marketplace type business.
And InPost and Allegro have had a special relationship, and that might be about to become even more special. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, well, let's get a bit of background here. I think that the key thing that is relevant is the fact that Allegro are about to have an IPO. So a lot of people are interested.
Of course, the other thing that's been, the rumor that's been circulating, that even I know about, is about Amazon and Poland.
And that's what this is all about, I think. So let's start with the Allegro IPO. I believe there isn't a better time because COVID has shown volumes grow exponentially on one hand. On the other hand, it's probably a good moment. There hasn't been anything big happening in the market in terms of IPOs. Amazon hasn't come yet, and there's always the risk that Amazon will do a bit more damage than they might expect. So it's probably better to get this out before Amazon actually shows its teeth. So it's all interlinked, and I think what this is all about, this is purely an educated guess, I should add, but my feeling is before the IPO, Allegro needed a bit of paper, a bit like an insurance policy saying, look, we're covered. And the reason why it's so important is lockers are really popular in Poland. InPost has over 7,000 of them now. And the subscription product called Allegro Smart, I think couldn't operate feasibly financially, well, that's not a very good word order, but I think we got what I mean, without the lockers. So for all of those reasons, they needed to do it. And the 7 years, I think, is important because it's long enough ahead to comfort all investors that, hey, we're covered, we don't have to worry about
it's a bit like when you're trying to sell a small business and you're in leased premises, you have to have a long-term lease sorted out. That's a similar sort of thing. Having a 7-year deal with InPost is an important thing for getting this set up, yeah?
Absolutely. When I bought a buy-for-rent property and I had 7 years guaranteed return, it's that sort of thing. So I think that's what it's all about. I think it's going to be very interesting because if we're all right and Amazon comes in, then I have no doubt that Amazon will also sign up with InPost. So it's all going to get interesting, and Alibaba's already there. So
what's Alibaba doing of interest in Poland, though?
Alibaba are using InPost for their distribution, InPost lockers in particular. So I think this is going to be a really good one at some stage to have a VC on, or maybe if we can get, I'm really bad at pronouncing this, Kainio, someone from Canio to do a webinar with us, it would be really cool because I think things are going to change. Up until now, Ali has basically been looking at the cheapest way to get stuff into Europe. Very poor track and trace capability, not sort of soft and cuddly, but very cheap. And I think they're changing that. The rumors are they already have 3 fulfillment centers in Europe. If that's true, then that's the first step of really changing the way they operate.
Now, you mentioned Allegro has a subscription product and the parcel lockers are crucial to its success. Can you just explain a bit how that subscription program works and the importance of parcel lockers in delivering that?
Absolutely. So as with all subscriptions, you pay a low annual fee. And in this case, I can't remember, I think it's about 10 euros, something like that. So it's really isn't a lot of money. And then provided your basket is at least at a level of 10 euros, that's for the lockers. I think there's an option of 25 euros for courier, but that's already a much higher basket for a Polish customer. So the majority will go with a low basket and will have a locker capability. Now, in order to keep the costs of the last mile low, you can only do it via locker, or to a degree PUDO, simply because you cannot afford, if the delivery cost is, for the sake of argument, about €1.5, and you're delivering one parcel to the consignee, well, that's your cost. And if the item costs 10 euros, that becomes quite a lot. If, on the other hand, you're delivering to a locker where the costs are much, much lower because you're delivering maybe 30 or 40 items at a time, it all makes sense and everyone has a win-win. So lockers are fundamental to the economics of any subscription model.
But what about, we've only really sort of touched upon this briefly over the last couple of months of these videos, but what about out of home in terms of PUDO networks in Poland? If this is, how does Allegro use out of home or PUDOs as part of this, if it does, and how's that all set up? So I think we might have talked about UPS in Poland and PUDOs during the pandemic, but otherwise
UPS doesn't have too much. The big one, the interesting one in terms of PUDOs is DHL, where they have almost 8,000, but I think 90% are from one convenience store network, which is called Żabka, which is like 7-Eleven in Oz. But generally, the important thing we should, I think, bear in mind is PUDOs and lockers do the same thing. They're two peas in a pod. They're complementary, and lockers have features that PUDOs don't have, and PUDOs have features that lockers don't have. We can maybe do a whole VC on this sometime. But Allegro uses both. But at the moment, because of the fact that it is a very dense and pretty well managed network, Allegro is, I would say today, best in class. The lockers work really well. They're convenient. They're open in the vast majority of cases 24/7. And they now do deliveries at weekends. One other thing I should mention, which I don't think we did mention, is part of this 7-year plan is also to introduce new innovative services. So effectively, they've already got the 7-day-a-week delivery. But I think the other one is going to be looking at how they can use lockers with same day, which would be quite interesting.
Lockers with same day, but with different carriers or just one dedicated carrier?
At the moment, the way that that InPost works is they go to the locker. And I see a lot of benefits because somebody who's experienced, knows how to use the app, will load the machine efficiently. With same day, it's a bit more difficult because probably what would have to happen is the same day courier, in the same way that the customer can use it, can lodge a parcel in the locker. But, same day is talked about a lot, but the volumes are not I have to be careful because someone said the Beatles won't be successful. But I think I'm safe to say for the foreseeable future, the volumes are not going to be anywhere close to what you're getting for same day.
Oh, it might remain a niche product. And the other question is about, do you need that thing delivered the same day? Or what do you need delivered the same day versus what do you need delivered when you want it? But I think we may have had this discussion before. Marek, we're just about out of time. Any final comments on this deal between InPost and Allegro?
Yeah, I'll talk more about the market. I think Poland is a really good one to watch. And of course, being Polish, I talk about it. But it's also because I think it's one of the more innovative markets in Europe, particularly in terms of lockers and that sort of technology. Brokers as well, very interesting. That could be a subject for a VC one day. So keep your eye on Poland. Looking forward to some great comments. And let's see where this takes us.
And I'll also put a link down below to the Last Mile Experts report on the Polish CEP market that you did, it's nearly 2 years ago now, but lots of interesting information in there as well. So I'll put a link below in the comments. And if I forget to do it...
Actually, we're probably going to be doing an updated one soon. So for now, you can use that one, but watch this space.
Marek Różycki, thanks for being on the Last Mile Profits today.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone.